Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Monday, the 12th of November, 2014, and this is episode 104, Snow Day Podiversary. Grab some sticks and string and come knit with me. I'm so tired. It is later in the day than normal, but I feel like it's really, really early because Gabriel has a snow day today. Normally I would be wrapping up my recording at this point because I would have to go to get him off of the bus very shortly. But instead I've been fielding both children, and it feels like it's early because I haven't accomplished a thing so far today. But if I want this out tomorrow, I need to record now. So yeah, first snow day. That's kind of cool, I guess. Gabriel got up and he was like, "What? There's no school?" I was like, "I know, right?" And he's like, "Oh, which I appreciate. So he and Mara have been going crazy all day. It's beautiful outside though. Anyway, today's Podiversary Day. Yay! Are you excited? I was thinking about saving this until the end, but we'll just do it now. Podiversary prizes. I already drew before the podcast because it's just faster that way. For the yarn, Elle McCall, Linda. Amy Eyes, Ellison Rose Boom, Allison. Stitch Markers and Necklace, Silvani, Sarah. For a pattern from the shop, Mimi Teacher, Mimi. And for the hand knit object, Dancing Geek, James. Okay, so hopefully you caught your name. Once you watch this show, get in contact with me and let me know that you won. If I am sending you a physical object, I'm going to need your address. If I'm sending you a pattern, I need to know what pattern you want. And James, you and I will have a discussion about what sort of item you want, and I will start making that soon. Yay! I'm excited for the prizes. I really am. Oh, you guys, I am just so tired today. I don't know. I feel like I seem inauthentic in my enthusiasm for you winning the prizes. But I am really enthusiastic. I just feel really, really tired. Also, okay, so snow day today means that the past 2 days at work have been ridiculously busy because the news mentions the White Death and everybody freaks out. I don't know why people freak out. I don't think this happened in Michigan. We were just like, oh yeah, snow, whatever. But in Kentucky, people freak out as if this doesn't happen every year. But it has snowed every year that I've been here. So I don't get it. I don't know. That's probably why I'm so tired, because work has been so ridiculously busy. Anyway, finished object. I have a pair of mitts, convertible mittens. I'm going to put them on so you can see them. These are the mitts for my sister, and she sent me a message after watching last week's podcast. It was like, can you mail those immediately after finishing them? Because it is cold here. And I said, sure, of course I can. So I will be mailing these out tomorrow. Not today. I can't do anything today. I can't even, can't do anything today. But tomorrow, post office. It's going to happen. Anyway, so here's the backs. The Totoro mitts. Oh, a little bit washed out. Not bad. Okay. These are the backs. And here are the palms. And they convert. And I didn't put anything to hold this flap down because I'm not really that picky. Yeah, this edge rolls a little bit, but it'll be fine. And if she doesn't like it, she can figure out something to fix it. But it doesn't bother me enough to do anything about, so it's not going to happen. So here's the thumb. Look at that cute little colorwork Totoro on the other side. Oh, so cute. Yeah, I'm really pleased with these, and I'm going to make myself a pair of these mitts probably after the beginning of the year. because they're really, really cute, I ended up having enough of the yarns left over to make a second pair. I'll be cutting it very close on the light blue color, which is Knit Pick Stroll Sport in Wave Heather. So that light blue, I'll be cutting it close. I probably won't be able to do a colorwork thumb, but I should be fine to get most of the colorwork on the front done. Like maybe I won't be able to do this up here because all that is stranded. So the tops might be the dark blue, which is Stream Heather, Knit Pick Stroll Sport. But it should be pretty close. And I don't mind changing the pattern just a little bit because how cute these mittens are. I love them so much. I love my sister so much, which is why I'm sending them off to her. And I also won't be making convertible. Did I say that? Because I don't really need convertible mitts. If I want to be able to use my hands and like my fingers instead, I will just wear fingerless mitts instead of mittens. And I worked those on a US size 4 3.5 millimeter needle. I didn't really know what size needle to use, so I winged it, and I think the fabric turned out fine. And hopefully my sister likes them. Works in progress. Oh, before works in progress. I recorded a video of me knitting, and I'm going to insert that here. Okay, works in progress. I'm working on my mom's sweater. This is what is taking up all of my time. So here it is. Here's the back. Let's see. Which side has the stitch markers? There we go. Okay, so this is what I've done this week, and each of those stitch markers shows my daily progress. This one right here where it's very close together, that is the day that I made the backs of the pockets. There are a lot of stitches in those little squares for pockets. 720 stitches per back of pocket. It's ridiculous. I never would have guessed that. I mean, a few hundred, definitely, but I don't know. I guess I just didn't expect that. So this is the pocket, and here's the back. I only have a few more rows of attaching the back of the pocket, and then I will be trying on the sweater to see if it's long enough, and if it's long enough, then I will immediately start the border, and if it is not long enough, then I will do a few more rows and then do the border. I'm going to do I-cord around the bottom because I'm doing I-cord here, and that will just be the same all the places. The yarn that I'm using is Red Heart Super Saver in Black Light, and it is super, super bright. Okay, so I have to admit that now that the sweater is a larger piece, it's kind of growing on me. I still wouldn't wear it, but I don't think it's as I don't want to say horrendous, but that's the only word coming to mind, as I thought it was before. So, I don't know. I like it. My mom, every time she sees the picture, she's like, oh my gosh, I like it so much. So that's good. And this will be finished probably next week. Not necessarily because NaNoSueMo, which is what I'm knitting this for, which is National Knit a Sweater Month, it doesn't end until the end of the month. But when I get close to the end on a project, I tend to go pretty monogamous on it. And that's all that I want to work on because I'm so close to the end of it that I'm like, well, I may as well finish. And I feel like once I get through the halfway point of the sleeves, I'm going to work them 2 at a time so that they're even, and that way I won't necessarily have to worry about yarn so much because what I have left of the yarn that I have is this much of the skein, which should take me through the end of the body, I'm thinking. And this skein right here, which is almost a full skein, except I used it to make the inside of the pockets. I will probably need another skein of yarn, but I'm just going to play yarn chicken. And if the cuffs, if like the lower parts of my mom's sleeves are a different yarn, then not a different yarn, they'll be the same color, but different dye lot or something. Because guess what? These ones do have dye lots. And this particular skein is 6990. Red Heart, some of them have dye lots. Whatever. If it's not the same, she gets what she gets. So yeah, I'm hoping to have this finished by next week, because having this finished will open up a lot of knitting time. It doesn't seem like 1,667 stitches a day would take up so much of my knitting time, but I don't know. I knit on the sweater so much more slowly than I knit on socks. I don't know why. It just takes longer to do 300 stitches than it takes to do 300 stitches on my other work in progress, which is in this adorable bag. Oh my gosh. I love this bag so much. I think in the VKN that I was in, I held it up like 5 times. I was like, look, this bag. Even though my friends had already seen it. It doesn't matter. I love this bag so much. It's from Kitchen Counter Crafter. So, oh, there you go. And that's javajohnny.etsy.com. I love this bag so much. It's so cute. It's so cute. Anyway, I am working on socks for my nephew. So these are actually going to be the project that is getting the most amount of work done today, because I'm the excuse me. I'm sending my sister her mitts tomorrow, and I'm delaying it until tomorrow instead of trying to go today, because I have all of the socks for her kids finished except for these ones. And these are for my nephew. I am 39 rounds away and the bind off round from finished. So that should be easy peasy to finish today. Not a problem. I am starting on the knit 3 purl 1 ribbing section of these socks using the recipe that I published, I don't know, a month ago, earlier this month, can't remember. The yarn that I'm using is Red Heart, Heart and Soul with Aloe in the Christmas colorway. Oh, that's upside down. And his favorite color is red. And I do have red. You can see it over my shoulder. But it's 100% superwash wool, not with nylon. And I just feel like I don't have a problem making 100% superwash merino socks for myself. I have a few pairs. And I don't mind making them for my friends who are grown-ups. But kids are a lot harder on their socks. So they need to have nylon in them. So his due. I will have a picture next week of these finished socks because I will be sending them in the post tomorrow. Is that really all that I've been working on this week? How did that happen? Okay, no, it's not really, because I do have that one secret project that I'm not telling you about. I just feel like I didn't knit at all this week. I didn't spin at all. I think I'm just not in a spinning mood. I think my spinning project is just going to be set aside for a while. Whatever. It doesn't have a deadline, whereas my knitting projects do. I did work on one other thing, which is a barn raising square. Out of the 3 squares that I've made so far, this is my least favorite. It's nice, it's pretty. It will be fine in the blanket with the other squares. I mean, it's good to have contrast and stuff, but I don't know. I'm underwhelmed with the colors. They're not my favorite. I'm pretty sure these were socks that I made for one of my nephews last year. It's fine. It's just not exciting. I did get something exciting in the mail this week, though. Tina from Knitting Blooms, she's the blooming knitter, is doing a knit from your stash challenge all this year, and I've been knitting more from stash than not, so I've been having a lot of posts. And I won. You might remember that I won a pattern from her earlier this year, and that is for the chatter thread has patterns, and then the finished objects thread gets yarn. Every month she has a drawing. Well, this month I won the yarn. This is from the shop that it's from is A Good Yarn, and the yarn is Maverick Yarns. Fingering weight 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 100 grams, 400 yards, and the colorway Last Summer. Look at how pretty that is. It's so pretty. So pretty. I don't know what this is going to be, but it could be anything and still be amazing. I finished listening to Dorothy Must Die, and I feel that it was a little bit anticlimactic at the end. It was okay, it just wasn't great. Oh, the bus! Not actually the bus, because today's a snow day. So I finished listening to that. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't amazing. So I started listening to another audiobook because I'm apparently back on an audiobook kick. And what I have is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. You may recall that I started reading this book a while ago. Got through about 40 pages and then it sat on my nightstand for a while with no love. I would highly recommend listening to the audio version. I'm sure the written version is fine once you get into the story, but Davina Porter does this version, and she is fabulous. She's lovely English accent, and all of her voices for the characters are believable. It's never like, oh, really that's how that person sounds. The voices are just distinct enough that you know who's talking, even when it's in a dialogue that doesn't say, and then he said, and then she said, and then he said. It's just really well done. I really enjoy it. Sorry I keep touching my hair. It's wet. I took my shower right before I started recording, and I don't blow dry my hair, and I don't usually do anything until it's mostly dry, so it's just kind of, yeah. This part is still really wet, and this part down here is dry, because this takes about 4 hours to dry. I don't know why. It just does. So, yeah, I kind of look like a mess today, but it's a snow day. You know how that is. It's a snow day. Like, I can't... For me, snow days take any amount of effort I was going to put into things down to, what's the laziest thing I could do today? So, hey, whatever. My hair is kind of ridiculous today, but I'm okay with putting it out there for the internet, so hopefully it's not the worst thing you've ever seen in your whole life. I finished reading Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea, which I believe I talked about last week, because I did talk about it, because I had started it at the library. Finished reading it, and after the first 150 pages, I was like, I don't really like this book very much. And then page 150 happened, approximately. I mean, it wasn't necessarily 150, and I was like, wow, I really am not enjoying this book at all. But I stuck with it and finished out the book, and it ended up being a much better story than I thought it was going to be. So I probably wouldn't recommend it like outright if someone was like, hey, what's a really good book that you've just read? I probably wouldn't be like, oh, this. What is on my shelf? Oh, granola bars. I just noticed that I have granola bars on my shelf instead of yarn. Anyway, yeah, I wouldn't be like, oh, you need to read this book. But if you happen to come across it, it's not bad. It's not a bad read. There is some supernatural happenings. There's a lot of violence that happens. A lot of violence. But it's pretty good. Okay, it's not pretty good. It's good. It's like on the okay side of good, not on the oh my gosh side of good. And then I picked up Cress, which is the third book in the Lunar Chronicles series. And I'm not very far in it. This book is substantially thicker than the first two. I would say probably 100 to 200 pages thicker. I'm enjoying it so far. As you can tell by the front cover, Rapunzel is the new addition to the fairy tale type cast. It's not very fairy tale though. I mean, the basis for the characters is kind of taken from fairy tales. Cinder was adopted by a man, and then he died, leaving her in the custody of his wife, and they had 2 daughters. So, Cinderella. Scarlet has a grandmother that she's looking for. And there's a character named Wolf. So that's the second book. And then Cress is trapped on a satellite. It's not really giving anything away because you find that out in the first chapter. So she's trapped on a satellite and has been for 7 years or something like that. Highly enjoying it. It's gotten less into big concepts. What am I trying to say? The second class citizenship is not such a big deal. That's wrong. That's the wrong way to say it, but it's not brought up as frequently in subsequent books, just in the first one. It's more about the story, about the action that's going on, than it is about big issues, which is fine. I'm enjoying the story. I just also really enjoyed that sort of subject was broached in the first book. And I'm kind of missing that a little bit. But again, I'm not very far into it, so maybe there will be another big issue tackled in the book. I don't know yet. Highly enjoying it. Definitely recommend the Lunar Chronicles if you are looking for something to read. And the final thing I have for you today is a podcast. Little Bobbin Knits. Oh, I'm probably wrong. It'll be linked in the show notes. It's with Danny. I think it's Little Bobbin Knits. If you watch podcasts, you've probably heard of hers, but it's very good. She talks about several crafty things, not just knitting. And she's very enjoyable, very soothing. Enjoy her podcast a lot. So go give it a watch. There aren't very many episodes, less than 10, I believe. I don't know. Enough that I could watch them all in one afternoon. And that is all I have for you this week. I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string. Next week, I hope to be less crazy, but I'm sure you've been hearing my kids this entire recording session being ridiculously noisy in the rooms on either side of my room. There's one against that wall and one against the wall behind me. Those are their bedrooms. So they keep running back and forth between them and being crazy because yay, snow day. So hopefully next week it'll be a little more exciting or something. I don't know. I feel like this week's quality was poor quality for a second Podiversary video. Sorry about that, guys. Next week will hopefully be better.